so that the person whose car it is has to deal with the fallout. And they stay there on the stoop day in and day out, sexually harassing women who walk by. Then when it's time for them to go to the bathroom, they go inside of the hallway. They pee in the hallway. The whole place smells rank and stank. And it's like, black women, when are we going to cut off their access to being able to procreate? We got Nicki Minaj going into this situation with a person who is a convicted rapeist. The reason I'm spelling is because of the YouTube web crawler, word crawler, right? So that now then you give birth to a person with the genes and genetics of a rapeist. And it's like, these people who are made of bad stock, remember, we talk about generational curses and stuff being passed down through the generations. So we have men who have the brokenness encoded in their DNA. And then we give birth to children with the brokenness encoded in theirs. And it's like, black women, how much longer are we going to sacrifice for a community that does not stand up for us? It's so crazy. It's really crazy. It's perplexing. It's perplexing because on this young lady's page, there's so many of her posts that are no longer available because I believe the tweets were just so toxic and just so low vibrational that the tweets are just no longer doggone available. She's retweeting stuff that's just really base and just low energy, right? Toxic tweets. However, out of all of her timeline, I only saw, as far as I scrolled, there was only one tweet that she tweeted from a black man who was talking about love black women, date black women, be with black women, etc., right? Other than that, there was just a bunch of toxic tweets on there talking about how she's going to beat up Latinas for wearing braids and all this, that, and the other, and blah, 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 blah. Girl, don't do it. Because you got a criminal justice system that is not on your side. You have black men who will expect you to get on the front lines and march and lift your voice and sing and all this other stuff when they're harmed. However, when something happens to you, bitch, you should have chose better, bitch. Bitch, you chose wrong. This, that, and the other. Meanwhile, she's talking about she would rather be with a toxic man, and so many people congratulating her. Yeah, that's right. You keep it black. You keep it real. What type of, how, a person does not love you. A person does not love you when they're encouraging you to do things that are self-harming to you. That is not love. Like, I got so many Nicki fans who are coming out to my page who are like, shut up, bitch, you old. And I'm like, I'm old? Then what is Nicki? If I'm old, what is Nicki? You know what this is? Listen, father time is the great equalizer. Because the more time you spend on earth, oh yes, time catches up with us all. Youth is a commodity in our society, but oh, listen, if we're all lucky, we all will get old. So you still sitting up here thinking Nicki's 25. No, she's not 25. And even if she were, see, this is what I'm saying. We have to stop worshiping these arbitrary facets that require nothing besides a lack of time. It requires no wisdom, no education, no being a good person, no nothing. All it requires is for you to have less time, an inexperienced amount of time. That's all that requires. And then we worship this whole beauty thing. But what does a beauty? There's no merit. There's no merit. All you have to do is just have some parents who had some DNA that combined in such a way that people find pleasing to the eye. And for far too many of us in our society, that pleasing to the eye comes with being Europeanized. Listen to what it is that I'm saying. Listen. And so there is no merit in just merely being Negroid. There's no merit in it. All you had to do was have Negroid parents. But what have you done with your time here on this earth? Who have you been? We have us every day we exchange a day in our lives for the activities of that day. Who are you? And what have you done? Talk to me about who you are, really. So much so that we would just rather have any person with a pianist. Any person with a pianist. You have a pianist in your person? Come. Person with a pianist. Come be in my home. Toxic, abusive, and all. That's all it takes. There is no merit in having a pianist. It just means that you have a certain set of chromosomes that lined up in a certain way for your body to grow the pianist. There's no merit in that. What have you done as a man? And you all cannot tell me that what it is that I am experiencing out here in this dating world is an anomaly. We got men who are not following up. Men who are thinking, listen, I don't attract broke men. Right? I don't attract broke men, but I know that there are men out there because I see them in the groups. There are men out there who they don't want to pay for dates. They want you to pay 50-50. They want you to pay for them. They want to switch the role reversal. They want you to chase them. I'm a man. I got a job, sir. I got a job, sir. And as a man, sir, you pays for me. As a bad bitch. As a man, and as a bad bitch.
You to out anybody.
I feel like girls should take me shopping, you know what I'm saying? And that's not even me trying to sound cool and cocky. I really do believe that. And I know that a lot of you
believe that girls should just take you shopping?
Yes.
Why?
Because I'm handsome. like no, like I'm a bad bitch. And
come on. It's like we as a society, we don't get better. One, we don't get better when we are promulgating subpar, when we are promulgating the DNA of subpar men. We don't get better as a society. Two, we don't get better when we do not hold these men to task. When we're not like, look, what are you going to do? Because you know, men will rise to the occasion of what, of what women put out there. You know that if we had more requirements, that they would rise to those requirements. But when we have none, it's all a mating strategy. Men are different than women. Men want to find the male of the species. The difference between the male and the female of the species is the male of the species has the smaller, more abundant sex cells. Genetic reproductive success for the male of the species is to spread his DNA far and wide. Reproductive success for the female of the species, who is categorized by having larger, fewer sex cells. Reproductive success for her is to get the best mate for her one ovulating egg. That's what reproductive success is for the female of the species. So when we don't require the men to be the best, when we let them know we will accept you, even if you don't protect the neighborhoods, even if you don't protect the children that you provide, it is genetic suicide. It's genetic suicide. And look at how we got things rolling around in this country. Look at how we got things rolling around in this country. So that when we see the faces of Negroid characteristics, we see the people in the ghetto jumping up and down, shmoneying. In the ghetto with the guns, shmoney. Selling drugs on the corner, up there with arms behind their back in the news report, full Negroid features and all. That's what you see. But then when you see the people with the mixed phenotype, you see the feminine. Oh, I'm so feminine. Oh, I'm so cute. Give me money because I'm just worth so much. Look at my daughter. She cute. Look at she cute. Oh, the whip. Let me nay. Oh, go, daughter. Oh, and then sing the lyrics. Oh, we black. And the daughter's like, I ain't black. And then you're like, oh God, I didn't have a mixed child. I'm a mixed child. No, think she black. Oh, what do I do? Oh, but then you just keep going on. Because you set it up that way for her not to have Negroid features to begin with. And we are continuing, like listen. I canceled Luke Cage and I canceled Winston Duke, and I'll cancel anybody who I see is, if the precedent is set out there for them to take their resources and all this other stuff to another community, I'll cancel you in a minute. I don't care. I don't care. I don't have to support. And people are like, they'll waste us. Listen, it's survivalist and it's also a personal choice. I don't have to support any goddamn body. Make me support somebody. And I'll show you use a doggone lie. I ain't supporting anybody that I choose not to mother effing support for any mother effing reason I choose not to support them. I'm a grown woman. I make the rules over here, and that's one of my rules. I ain't supporting and giving my dollars. Listen, so many of you are so unbusiness oriented. This is what I'm saying. Go get the video that I made, 10 ways to tell if your man is going to be wealthy, because there's a lot of information in there about us as women in ways that we can be wealthy as well, because those same things apply to you, and you can look at your own work ethic and all of the different things that I label and list inside there. So many of us are so non-business oriented that we don't realize that we give our dollars, and those dollars add up. And those people take those dollars and they put their children in private schools, and they give their the finer things. They got their children traveling on your doggone rent money, baby. I'll never forget. My landlord, when I was in New York, and you all know that I paid him more than $80,000 for the 3 years that I was in that loft that I was paying $2,500 a month. He gave him more than $80,000. And the first year I gave his wife like a basket of like my skincare products. And in return, he had a son, his son-in-law, so his daughter was already married, and he made sure that his daughter married someone who had money. His son-in-law was a part of this cookie company, this famous cookie company, and he gave me like a basket of cookies, and oh my God, those cookies were so good. Oh, goodness. And then the next year, I did something else. So I was there for 3 years, and the next year I did something else, and he gave me some more cookies. And then July came, right? It was the summer, and we had spoken, and he said that he was having like something was happening on his block, and he lived on the Upper West Side. No, he was like in the 70s, right? And he lived in a brownstone over there. I remember because one time I had to drop my rent off to him because he was on his way something. But when I went there to go drop the rent off to him, him and his family were there was something that was going on, and I wanted to go. It wasn't a block party, but it was like a barbecue or something, but some sort of get together or something. And I wanted to go. And the way he kind of, it was known I was not invited. I wasn't invited I wasn't invited, right? But it just made me realize, you know what? All of this money I'm taking and giving out this way, and your family is vacationing up in the Hamptons. Your daughters are marrying rich men. You're living in this beautiful $1 million brownstone. And your kids have gone to private schools. Your children are traveling abroad in India and all this other stuff. And it's like he owned a lot of different buildings. So like all the money flows into this direction. It's the same thing, when we're going to these Asian shops where we're spending our money on the hairs and stuff, and all of that money is flowing to another community. Their kids have the reading programs and the tutors and the SAT preps, and their kids have the books and the boating shoes and all of the accoutrements. They have the trust funds, and they have all of this. Their kids have the computers and the lesson of the digital divide, and they have all of these things. Your money flowing outward to them. Meanwhile, your kids are up on the goddamn news with their Negroid features and handcuffs behind their back, showing the world that these Negroid features are associated with thugism, with violence. with being a derelict. You see the face, the wide nose and the lips shaking and shimmying on the TV, standing there with their mugshot portrayed for the whole world to see. That's how your children look. But their children got on a nice little uniform skirt and the little tote bag on the side, and they're shopping at these nice malls, and they're sitting up there and they're so cute with your money. Meanwhile, you are requiring nothing of black men to provide that for your children. Our children are sitting up there. AOC talked about how in the Bronx, highest instance of preventable asthma. There's still lead in our waters in the communities. And we're sitting up here idling our goddamn time. Idling, letting these niggas idle. Oh, we doing this, idling. No, mother effers, a war going on out here and the war is silent. And you allowing these men to sit up and do nothing. Nothing, not a thing. Nothing. And you still lay down and bust it open for them because they got Negroid DNA? There's no merit in just being black. What else comes with it? What have you done, son? What you done? I want us to get it together. Listen, share this video. I know the video is long, but we talked, and I know you was here for it. We talked and we had a good talk. Ladies, we need to pull it together. We need to require these men to do something. We need to require these men to get on the damn front lines for themselves as well as for us and our children. Because it's such a shame when something happens to a black woman, they're looking for all the reasons that she did to cause it to herself. But when it comes to them, they want to talk about how you got the thought uniform and the whole uniform, and they got so many different doggone names to call you everything except a daughter of goddess. Oh, everything. Every name in the book they can think of. Scallywag, skeezer, thought. What? Bust it, baby. They got so many names that they can come up to call us. For the people for the women who do allow their penises. Do you not notice that you're labeled and downtrodden? You're downgraded when you accept their penises. Yet they're always offering it. That sounds like a negative liability to me. If there's anything that somebody gives you and your worth is then downgraded because of it, that sounds like black penis is a damn liability, doggone. If it's lowering your worth, if the amount of black penis that you take on now use a thought, because let's keep it real, these names are primarily and largely used for black women, women of color who accept black penis. We don't have the same, listen, I have traversed through different circles. They're not calling these other women are experimenting with sex, with drugs and sex with multiple, but somebody talked about some show that they have on the air. I think it's Married at First Sight or something. And the show is stagnant because the black women are not even having intercourse. And it's like, we got all of these misperceptions. Meanwhile, in other communities, they will accept Jana Jameson, the biggest porn star who tooted it, booted it, and cruted it. And they'll dust her off, exalt her, and call her queen, give her monies, throw the monies at her. But meanwhile, you in the ghetto who's young and underneath the guidance of these men, they want you to take their penis. And then once you take their penis, then they're like, oh, you slut, you bitch, you whore, you skeezer, you thought, bitch, whore. And they say all of these things about you for accepting their penis. Their penises do not exalt you. It doesn't increase your value. It makes you dirty once their penis touches you. There's no benefit in it for you. Societally, there's no benefit societally in it for you. And it's like, I mean, can you think? I want you all to think. Think, what are the names of the names that white men call white women who accept a lot of white penises? What are the names? Okay, you could call her slut, but that ain't phasing them because they still doing what the hell they want to do and how they want to do it. Call them what you want. Just slut. But all throughout the ages, we have all of these abusive words and language to use against women of color who accept black penis. How much longer are we going to live like this young lady talking about you would rather have an abusive, toxic black man than to date outside of your race? Come on. How about loving yourself? How about putting yourself first? How about that? How about realizing that there's no downfall to there's no downfall to being in your own space and in your own self-love and in your own safety and your own your own abundance. There's no downfall to that. To saying, you know what, I'm going to stay with myself until I meet a person worthy of being with me. I could do bad by myself. I remember my mother said that when I was a child and I didn't really understand what she mean. My mother was like, I could do bad by myself. And I realized, look, why? Why invite someone into your peace? We talked about that the other day. What it feels like to not want to come home, not want to open up the doors, to be with a person and you know that you settled. You feel the feeling in the pit of your stomach and you're like, God damn, I don't want to be with this nigga. This man is beneath me. Listening to him talk and you just feel yourself just bubbling up on the inside. You feel that bile coming up. And then the next thing you know, cancer. How much longer are we going to be holding in all of these feelings and not letting them out? This is how sickness breeds. Why the black American womb is so tattered with disease in this country. How much longer do we hold this all in? I know what it's like to be with a person and you listen to them talk and you're just like, how did I get myself into this and how do I get the hell out? Because it just doesn't resonate. It doesn't vibrate with you. And I also know what it's like to be with a person and you be in synchronicity. That it's like swish. Like that when the basketball hits all net. Or when that tennis ball hits right in the middle of the racket. I know what that feels like too. And I know, listen, I met my twin flame. And so I know that there's a higher vibration of love out there than just settling for a person. Say it with me. With what? With a penis. Just a person. Any person with a penis will do. No matter how dusty, broke down, degraded, and damaged that penis is. No. We can do better. There's a higher vibration of love available for us. What would our communities look like if we demanded and required that our children got private school? That our children had the cute little uniform with the tote bags on the side and the Mead notebooks and the loose leaf paper and the wonderful little gel pens and the tutors and the teachers who cared about them versus teachers who are in competition with them to see how fast they can get them from the preschool to the prison pipeline? What would our neighborhoods look like if we had people who were black people, people of color, who listened to the democratic process, got representation, and stayed on top of our representatives who are representing us in the state's capital? What would our neighborhoods look like if we required our men to protect our children? What would it look like? What would it look like if we required our men to be able to start businesses, to be able to hold things down? What would it look like if our neighborhoods didn't have food deserts in there? If black men were planting? If we had some sort of collective co-op farm? If we had land? What would that look like? What would it look like if instead of we started saying, oh, you know, men are so weak-minded? What would it look like if we expected them to be able to uphold a strong mind with integrity? Like these, I cannot, my nonnikins does not get moist for men who don't follow through. If I can't trust you, if I can't respect you, I cannot get moist for you. How do you lay down there and you let a liar on top of you, you know he's lying to you? How do you lay down there and open yourself extra wide to take his lying behind penis up inside of you? How? His dry, dusty, dilapidated, derelict dick. How do you take that? How do you betray all that's going on inside of you, all of your senses screaming out against it? How do you lay there and say, you know what, I'm just going to ignore it for the sake of having a person? Say it with me. A person? With a penis. How? How? Ladies, we have got to do better ourselves. And on that note, this video was much longer than I thought it was going to be. I'm going to break this up into 2 parts, and then I will see you all in the next video where we're talking about Wendy Williams, because Wendy's playing a dangerous game. Let's talk about that in the next video. Give this video a thumbs up. My makeup is popping and looking good. I can't wait to talk to you all later. And go out there and love one another. But most importantly, what? Love yourself. Love yourself. And part of loving yourself is putting yourself first. Putting yourself first. Loving yourself above all other people. Self-love is loving through your relationships so that your relationships are self-supporting instead of self-abusing. Listen, I love you. I haven't hugged you all in a while. Let's hug. Yes. Okay. All right. Okay. So listen, I will see you all on the next video. Tonya TKO, and I'm out. Make sure that you're subscribed. Thumbs up this video. Share this video. Join my personal mailing list, because YouTube is a very fickle place. Make sure that you're on my mailing list at TonyaTKO.com. You can get a free copy of my Relax MP3 on there for joining the mailing list. I didn't get a chance to show you all the book earlier, but this is my book, the Book of Affirmation Self-Love. This is my personal book that I write in, which helps me continue to level up, go level up. You can get that on Amazon. Amazon ships it Prime. You can get it on my website. When you get it on my website, I'm talking too fast. When you get it on my website, I autograph it. All right. So on that note, I will see you on the next video. Peace. I love you all. Okay.